Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Podcast, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's get to it. Stock Movers, hugely popular. Look for that podcast out there each and every morning. There's many of them, a couple of them as well, but none of them better than with Lisa Mateo. The Stock Movers on this Monday morning. Futures up 8. Lisa, what do you have?
All right, I have to start with Warner Brothers. This is the big story of the day. Ticker WBD, separating into two publicly traded companies. The shares have been up as much as 12%. The basic rundown, you have the streaming and studios company, David Zaslav. He's going to serve as president and CEO of that company. Warner Brothers Television, Warner Brothers Motion Pictures, DC Studios, HBO Max, and their film and television libraries. Then you have that second company, Global Networks, and that will be led by the CFO at Warner Brothers Discovery. It's worldwide premier entertainment. We're talking sports, news, television brands like CNN, TNT, but also the digital products like Discovery Plus, the streaming service, Bleacher Report, and it's expected to be completed by the middle of next year. They're really just trying to capitalize on the consumer, right? Shifting away from traditional pay TV to these new online options. And we saw the Comcast, take a similar path, dividing that NBC
Do you think
Universal.
so? Is this like a similar to like the Comcast approach?
Yeah, and Comcast announced that, and we're waiting for them to spin out their cable networks. It's basically just saying the cable network business is no longer a growth business, so let's get rid of that.
But yes. You dump the debt. Yes. And there, we've got to keep going here. It is Stock Movers, but a headline moments ago, and I'm sorry, it is the key headline for me as the amateur, Paul Sweeney, the pro. There's so many headlines, it's hard to find here. They're not going to talk about capital structure for a while.
Well, they better
because they don't want to talk about it, do they?
But the most important thing from my perspective is JP Morgan's $17.5 billion bridge loan. They're going to use that cash to refinance all of this debt and get it into one tidy little bundle. And then they'll pay back the bridge loan at some point.
Just on time on Stock Movers. Next.
All right. Tesla, their shares have been ticker TSLA. Shares have been down as much as 2%. Investors really just kind of watching out any more updates with that fallout between President Trump, Elon Musk. But you had a couple downgrades, too. You had Bear downgraded the stock to neutral from outperform. It said that rally was actually due to just anticipation of the launch of the more affordable vehicle, but also the robo-taxi service. And then if that's not enough, Argus also downgraded the stock, too.
Argus is still around. Wow.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Forever.
And if you're keeping track through Friday's close, the shares down about 27% this year for Tesla shares. From that, we move to Apple because it's a big day for Apple, right? Their developers conference, ticker AAPL. The shares have been up about 0.5%, but people are just going to be looking to see if there's any signs of the struggles with artificial intelligence that they've been happening. They're not expected to feature really much in the way of AI releases. The conference actually marks the 1-year anniversary when they first introduced Apple Intelligence, so it's kind of interesting there. But the shares have been down about 19% this year, making them by far the biggest drag on the NASDAQ 100, which has actually advanced 3.6%.
The Stock Movers Podcast from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live. Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.